Hey everybody, it's Coach Jason here. I wanted to post a video today that's going to complement the video that I posted a few days ago, which was a 1 mile time trial video. And a 1 mile time trial can act as a fitness indicator and give you a lot of information as to what you can run for 3 kilometers, 5 kilometers, as well as half mile, 800 meters, and 400 meters. This can give you a good idea of what you can run for a marathon and what you can run for a 10K. Over distance and under distance, okay? And I don't necessarily mean, say, do a time trial of a half marathon, but if you have some people who can help you run it, then I encourage you to do it. Otherwise, I would encourage you to utilize a half marathon, whether you're training specifically for a half or whether it's part of a build-up towards a marathon. It can tell you a lot. I think this video is going to be very helpful. So, without further ado, let's get to it. 2:30 for the half marathon, okay, and I'm going to do 6 times. I'm going to go from 2:30 down to 1:15. So 2:30, it's 11:26 per mile. That puts you in the ballpark of 5:05 for the marathon, which is 11:38 per mile, and 67 minutes and 30 seconds for the 10K, which is 10:53 per mile. 2:15 for the 13.1 half marathon, which is 10:17 per mile, puts you in the ballpark of 4:36 for the marathon, which is 10:32 per mile, and 60 minutes and 30 seconds, which is 9:46 per mile for the 10K, which is 6.25 or 6.25 miles. 2 hours for the half, which is 9:09 per mile, puts you in the ballpark of 4:07 for the marathon, which is 9:25 per mile, and 54 minutes for the 10K, which is 8:41 per mile. Now I'm going to switch this for the second one, but before I do that, I'm going to say one thing, and I said this in the 1 mile time trial video, and I highly encourage you to watch that video. It's very informative. If by running this 2:30 marathon you happen to be closer to that marathon than you are the 10K, then that's an indication that incorporating some more 10K type work will be beneficial to your training. And on the flip side, if you happen to be closer to that 10K than you are the marathon, then that's an indication of incorporating more marathon type training, whether it be increasing your long run, progression runs, tempo running, threshold training, marathon specific workouts, which we will go over in a little bit as well. Okay, so it's important to recognize that. And obviously it'll give you an indicator of, where you need to progress from one to the next. And if you've already run a marathon, you have an idea what you can run. And running a half marathon will give you a good idea of where your training is on the opposite end as well. I do encourage you to run a half marathon or train for a half marathon and train for a marathon. They complement each other very well, and they tell you a lot about where you can benefit and where you need to improve. Okay, so let's take this down. Let's put the second one up. Now, let's go to this one. Okay, 1:45 for the half marathon, which is 8 minutes flat, even on the nose for the mile. Puts you in the ballpark of 3:38 for the marathon, which is 8:18 per mile, and 47 minutes for the 10K, which is 7:36 per mile. 1:30 for the half marathon, which is 6:51 per mile. Puts you in the ballpark of 3:07 for the marathon and 7:08 per mile. Notice the differential gets a little bit closer. As you start getting faster, obviously your fitness is getting better as well. So the gap between half marathon and marathon pace will probably tighten as you get fitter. It will definitely tighten as you get fitter. So 3:07 for the marathon, 7:08 per mile, and it puts you in a ballpark of 40 minutes even for 10K, which is 6:30 per mile. And last but not least, the 1:15 half marathon, which is 5 minutes and 43 seconds per mile, puts you in a ballpark of 2:36 for the marathon, which is 5:58 per mile, and 33:30 for the 10K, which is 5:21 per mile. Okay, so let's take this down now, and let's put up some actual workouts, okay? Things that you could do, okay? So we'll go over some marathon type workouts. I'm going to go over some 10K type workouts. Now, it's up to you to decide when and where you want to incorporate this into your training and how long you plan to be training for a half marathon or a marathon. Okay. So let's start with the marathon-based workouts. The first one you'll see is I call it a 4, 6, 8, 10 by 800 with a 2-minute recovery, and I say time to goal. And what I mean by that is this is a workout you're going to do 4 times. Okay. If your goal is, let's say, 4:30 for the marathon, the 800-meter repeats are going to be done in 4:30. If your goal is 4 hours, you run them in 4 minutes. If the goal is 3 hours and 30 seconds, you run them in 3:30. Okay, with a 2-minute recovery. The first time you do it, you're going to run 4 reps. Then about 3 weeks later, you're going to run it again. You're going to run 6 reps at the same pace. And then 2 or 3 weeks later, 8 reps at the same pace, and then 2 or 3 weeks later, 10 reps at the same pace. So this is a workout where you don't necessarily get faster throughout. We're increasing the amount of running that you're doing at goal pace. And since they're short reps, you can run more of them at goal pace, as opposed to some longer reps where it's a good idea to kind of progress from your current pace to your goal pace. So, and we'll get to that now. Another workout, 5 to 6 by 1.5 miles, or 1.5 mile repeats with a 2-minute recovery at marathon pace. Depending on where your fitness is, depending on where in the season you're incorporating these types of workouts, and the longer, more intense workouts, I do encourage you to incorporate them in the middle of the season. That's when your most intense training should be. So again, 5 to 6 by 1.5 mile with a 2-minute recovery at marathon pace. Progress from your current marathon to your goal marathon. Okay? And if your current marathon, let's say based on your half-mile time trial, your current marathon is you're in between current and goal, then you want to work within that pace range throughout the course of your training program, if it's reasonable. Okay, and what I mean by that too is if your current marathon pace is 9 minutes per mile and your goal marathon pace is 8 minutes per mile, the workouts you want to have them broken down so that you're either progressing throughout the workout or you do the workout multiple times and you do them maybe 10 to 15 seconds faster per repetition every time you do the workout. Okay, but it's got to be gradual and you have to be able to complete the workout. Okay, otherwise we're going to stay there and let a race indicate as to whether you want to increase your training levels. Okay, another one, 10-mile progression run from your current marathon pace to your goal marathon pace. This is an important part of your training. Okay, you've got to be able to do a significant amount of marathon pace running if you want to run the marathon, okay, at a goal pace. So whether it be a progression run or incorporate into your long run, we'll get to that as well. 4 by 2 mile, 2:30 recovery at marathon pace. Progress from current to goal, whether it be multiple times during the workout or throughout the workout. 3 by 3 mile or 3 by 5K with a 3-minute recovery at marathon pace, the same progression, current to goal. A 20 to 22 mile long run at 80 to 85% of your goal marathon pace. Okay, if you're training for your first marathon, I encourage you to get to a 20-mile run once before the marathon. If you're experienced and have run a couple of marathons and you're used to kind of a little bit of a longer buildup and not having to start from very, very short volume, then a 20 to 22 mile long run, I encourage you to do 2, if you can, 3 times, but 2 would be sufficient prior to the marathon, depending on how long your buildup is. And we can talk about that as well. A 12 to 15 mile progression run from your current marathon pace to your current half marathon pace. Okay, current to current. Okay, that's going to be, say if your current marathon pace is 8 minutes per mile, you're going to do some of it above 8 minutes, some of it below 8 minutes. And it's going to be a good callousing effort. It'll also get you ready for any pace increases that might occur during the marathon and get you used to that so that you're not getting into the oxygen debt. Because the last thing you want to do is get into trouble in a marathon. It's not like a 5K. Once you get into trouble, it's very hard to recover in a marathon. So you want to feel discomfort for an extended period of time. That's why these runs are very important. A 20-mile long run. So you can do this many ways. I encourage you to do them a couple different ways. One of the options is run your first 10 miles at a steady pace based on your time trial. And I do have a training pace video that you can look up as well that'll put you right where your training pace ranges need to be. And then the second 10-mile increment at your goal marathon pace. So you're doing 10 and 10. Now what that does is it gets you used to running marathon pace towards the end of the run. You could do this another way. You can run 5 miles steady, 10 miles at marathon pace, and then 5 miles steady, so you're running marathon pace in the middle of the run. Or you can run maybe 1 or 2 miles steady, then 10 miles at marathon pace, then 8 or 9 miles steady to complete the 20, so that you're running marathon pace at the beginning of the run, so that you know what it feels like to lock into that pace at different points throughout the run. So there's a lot of variety you can incorporate into this long run. Okay. Last but not least for this one here is an 8 times a mile workout, but I have a progression here. Okay, you're going to do this workout 3 times. I would encourage you to space it out, do it every 3 weeks or every 4 weeks, depending on how you lay out your training, and if you happen to prefer this over that or this over that, it's totally fine. These are just lots of options that you can utilize. So the first time would be 8 times a mile with a 2-minute recovery, and you can do it at your marathon pace, okay, or goal marathon pace. The second time you do it, you're going to do 8 times a mile with the same 2-minute recovery, but now you're going to do marathon pace minus 5 seconds. So if your goal marathon pace is 8 minutes, you're going to run them in 7:55. The last time, or the third time, you're going to run 8 times a mile with the same 2-minute recovery, minus 10 seconds per mile. So if the goal's 8 minutes, now you're running them in 7:50. Okay, so these start to approach half marathon pace. Now you need to know what it feels like to run a little bit faster as well. Okay, so now let's go to 10K base workouts. You'll notice progressions here as well. The reps get a little bit longer. You start to incorporate different things. Okay, so the first one is 12 to 14 by 600 meters, which is a lap and a half on the track, with a 1-minute recovery at 10K race pace. And again, you can progress from your current pace, or where the calculator tells you your current pace is, to your goal pace, which will be at the same level as your goal half, what it suggests that you should be for your goal half, or your goal marathon. Next one is 10 to 12 by 800 meters. 90-second recovery, same progression from current to goal, 10K race pace. Then you go from that to 8 to 10 by 1,000 meters with a 2-minute recovery, same progression, current to goal, 10K race pace. Okay. Now, we have a couple different variations here. We've got a 3 to 4 mile tempo, then you take a 4 to 5 minute easy jog recovery. You want to stay active, you want to keep the heart rate up. Then you go right into 10 to 12 by 1 minute hard, by 1 minute easy. Okay, it's essentially a 5K pace, approximately. A little faster if you feel good or if you're fitter towards the end of the season. What this does is it gets your body accelerating when it's already fatigued. Okay, you need to know what it feels like to accelerate at the end of a marathon or at the end of a race too, because even if it feels like you're running faster, you're probably just keeping the same pace, especially in the longer races like the marathon, or in some cases you're holding on for dear life. So these workouts will be very beneficial for that. Okay, we have another option, a 3 to 4 mile tempo, same 4 to 5 minute recovery. Then you go 6 to 8 by a minute 30 hard, a minute 30 easy. And again, it's all continuous. You're not stopping for a minute, standing there for a minute 30 or a minute. You're jogging. So it's a continuous, kind of like a fartlek. Okay. Next option, a 3 to 4 mile tempo, 4 to 5 minute recovery, then 5 to 6 by 1,000 meter hard, by 1,000 meter easy. Okay. The reps are getting a little bit longer, but you're doing them after a tempo. So again, you're running hard for a little bit longer and a little bit longer when you're already fatigued. Then you have a 3 to 4 mile tempo, same recovery, 4 to 5 minutes, then 12 to 15 by a minute hard and a minute easy. So we progress from 10 to 12 to 12 to 15. Okay. You have another option, 20 by 400 meters with a 45 to 60 second recovery, depending on your fitness. If you do this twice, I would suggest you start at 60. And then if you're going to drop the recovery, keep the same pace. Don't increase pace and intensity at the same time, or recovery and pace at the same time. So you can either keep it at 60 and run it a little faster next time, or drop the recovery and keep it at the same pace. Okay? At 10K race pace, you start to maybe run the last couple of reps at 5K race pace. Okay? And then this is a workout. It's kind of a step-down workout. 3 kilometers with a 3-minute recovery. 2 kilometers with a 2-minute 30-second recovery. 2 kilometers with a 2-minute 30-second recovery, which is a mile and a quarter. And then 3 by 1 kilometer, or 1,000 meters, with a 2-minute recovery. All of it at 10K race pace. Okay, if you notice the workouts, you're generally between 5 to 6 miles at 10K race pace, which would be sufficient volume to help boost your short race abilities and fitness, and which will in turn help you in the half marathon and help you in the marathon. And then on the flip side, your marathon strength will kind of help you on the downward trend as well. To help you in the half, help you in the 10K. Okay, so I hope these workouts are helpful. I've got dozens more. If you have questions, leave a comment down below. Also, please subscribe and like this video so that I know the content I'm sending is valuable, and so that I can continue to send this more content out. If you want any specifics, I'm going to send out specifics. I will send out a sub 2-minute half marathon workout, a detailed workout, a detailed program. I'll send out a sub 4-minute marathon. 4-hour marathon. If you want me to send sub 3:30, sub 3, if you want me to send sub 1:30 halves, just leave a comment down below. Let me know what you want, and I'll send it out, and I'll have it detailed for you 12 to 16 weeks, fully every single week. So please follow me on Instagram as well at Black Belt Running Coach. I send out a lot of running content on there as well. And if you have any specific questions or need specific guidance on anything, or personalized coaching or whatever, my email is blackbeltrunningcoach@gmail.com. So again, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it's helpful. Good luck, and we'll talk to you soon.